All right, Small Town Cop here. Very quick little devotion thing here. This is from First John. Just John, chapter 11. This is the resurrection of Lazarus. And I wanted to preface this by saying, if you read the Old Testament, only a few people get resurrected from the dead. There are 3 that are mentioned. Elijah raises 1. Elisha raises 2. Technically, Elisha raises 1 while he's alive, then his bones touch a dead body and raise another one. So we'll call that Elisha. And both Elijah and Elisha raised little boys. Or I shouldn't say little boys. I have a little boy, so I think of it as a little boy, but it may have been, a teenager, preteen, something. They raised a non-adult male. So it's pretty common in Jewish custom of the day to bury your dead rather quickly. Typically, within the first 24 hours after the death, you get the body to where it's going to be buried. They didn't embalm back then, at least not commonly in Jewish practices outside of Egypt. Like I know, I read just a little bit ago that Jacob and Joseph were embalmed because they were in Egypt when they died. But essentially nobody else would be. So this is going to be the first time Jesus raised somebody who is long dead. Long dead. And that's significant. Let me just go ahead and start reading. So some of this part up here. Jesus got told that Lazarus is sick. He waits 4 days or so. Apparently, the messenger, from my understanding, reading the text, the messenger left. It took him so long to get there. By the time the messenger got there, Lazarus was already dead, because when Jesus gets to what city was this? I forget. In Bethany, they say he's been dead 4 days. So remember the math in my head right. Essentially, by the time Jesus got word of Lazarus, he's dead. Okay, because he waits a little while, waits 2 days, and it takes like 2 days to get there. So it means like it took 2 days for the guy to get from wherever he was in Bethany to where Jesus was. Okay, so it says up here, put that in here. When Jesus arrived at Bethany, he was told that Lazarus had already been dead in his grave for 4 days. Bethany was only a few miles down the road from Jerusalem, and many of the people had come to console Martha and Mary in their loss. When Martha got word that Jesus was coming, she went to meet him, but Mary stayed in the house. Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if you only had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that God will give you whatever you ask." Jesus told her, "Your brother will rise again." "Yes," Martha said. "He will rise when everyone else rises on the last day," or at the last day in this transition. Jesus told her, "I am the resurrection and the life. Anyone who believes in me, even after dying, anyone who believes in me will live, even after dying. Everyone who lives in me and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this, Martha?" "Yes, Lord." She told him, "I have always believed you are the Messiah, the Son of God, the one who has come into the world from God." Then she returned to Mary. She called Mary aside from the mourners and told her, "The teacher is here and wants to see you." So Mary immediately went out to him. Jesus had stayed outside the village, at the place where Martha met him. When the people who were at the house consoling Mary saw her leaving so hastily, they assumed she was going to Lazarus' grave to weep. So they followed her there. When Mary arrived, I'm right here by the way, and saw Jesus, she fell at his feet and said, Lord, if only you had been here, my brother would not have died. When Jesus saw her weeping and saw the other people wailing with her, a deep anger welled up within him, and he was deeply troubled. Where have you put him? He asked. They told him, Lord, come and see. Then Jesus wept. The people who were standing nearby see how much he loved him, but some said, This man healed a blind man. Couldn't he have kept Lazarus from dying? Jesus was still angry as he arrived at the tomb. A cave with a stone rolled across its entrance. Roll the stone aside, Jesus told them. But Martha, the dead man's sister, protested, Lord, he has been dead for 4 days. The smell will be terrible. Let me stop right there just real quick. So again, every other person Jesus has raised up until this point has been recently killed, recently dead. Little girl he raised up, if I remember correctly. No, I think the Roman guy, his servant wasn't sick. It wasn't dead. He was sick. But there was a funeral procession that went by Jesus. He raised that person up. So this is the only person in the Bible that was dead for days before Jesus raised him up. This is a big deal because, one, it shows that it's not just like, oh, this guy's in a coma. Oh, this guy, fell sick. Because even Jesus said at one point, oh, she's just sleeping. Now, it's probably meant that he was referring to her death as he's going to treat it like a sleep. Like, hey, no, I'm the resurrection of life. She's just napping to me. So he raises her up. And something about this passage hit me today is that Jesus didn't heal Mary and Martha's brother Lazarus how they wanted him to, how they had seen him do it before. They'd seen his miracles before. He didn't do it that way. He didn't do it the way they prayed. He didn't do it when they really, really wanted him to. Jesus had a different plan. A greater plan that moved them more and built their faith up more than if he had been healed before he died, or if he had been healed and raised from the dead right away. And it got me thinking, Jesus didn't just heal him quickly because he wanted to show people his timing and his power is for our good. They were ecstatic once Lazarus was alive. Now, surely they would have been ecstatic either way, but the impact that had on everyone else who saw it, I mean, dead for days, long dead, absolutely, unequivocally dead. And I don't know what killed him. We just know he was sick and he died. I mean, that's a very broad spectrum of what it could be. But for those few who hear this, God can raise things from the dead that are long dead. All it took was two people's belief. That's it. And he didn't heal their situation, heal their person, raise their hurt family member, their dead family member from the grave, or stop them from dying. He did it 4 days later. He was in the grave longer than Jesus was. Let's make that clear. He was in the grave longer than Jesus was. So my point is, God can heal, Jesus can heal the long dead. in our lives if we believe him, if we will let him, if we will repent and just believe. I don't know what all situations that could be. I've got my own. I'm sure those few who listen got their own too. And it doesn't necessarily mean that God will, because again, God's will includes our ability to choose. And it also includes the impact he's trying to have to get other people to come to him. Because at the end of the day, our stories are not just for our happiness, our joy, our own salvation. Our salvation is meant to produce more salvation in other people, to bring more people to God. So yeah, things can be really crappy for a long time. When that miracle hits, and that resurrection hits your life, hits your family, I think we love it all the more for that. I mean, the fact that he raised Lazarus 4 days dead is why it's in the Bible. This is such a huge deal. We didn't get a lot of names for the people that Jesus raised, but we got Lazarus because Lazarus was dead for 4 days. He was buried. They know he's in decomp. They know it. Let's finish this up. Jesus responded, "Didn't I tell you that you would see God's glory if you believe?" So roll the stone aside. Jesus looked up to heaven and said, "Father, thank you for hearing me. You always hear me. But I said it out loud for the sake of those people standing here so that they will believe you sent me." Then Jesus shouted, "Lazarus, come out." The dead man came out, his hands and feet bound in grave clothes, his face wrapped in a headcloth. Jesus told them, "Unwrap him and let him go." Now then it goes on that this is the big thing that made people want to kill Jesus, but more than they did already. But just my last little bit here, they say, just remember, your miracle may not be happening, your prayer may not be answered the way you want it to. But when God does answer that prayer, it will be an awe-inspiring thing. It will be wonderful. Now, if it's I'm a big into politics, so I understand, that there's free will and all that philosophy. Here's the thing. We can pray all we want. But one of the most terrifying verses of the Bible, like I just for, is the fact that Jesus wanted to do something for us, but we wouldn't turn to him. That's us. The same thing applies to those we're praying for. Because I'm praying for somebody right now every day. Day 650 something. We can pray a whole lot, and I'm sure many people have prayed for family members before and friends and stuff like that. God will never just force someone to come to him out without their choice. But we can always pray to change their want tos so that they will. We pray that they don't get turned over to their own evil ways. We pray that they're not like Pharaoh. We pray that they soften their hearts and don't, rebel like Pharisees, or like the rich young ruler who wanted to be told, "Yeah, you're good enough." But when he got told, "Hey, sell everything you got. You got to give up all this because it's your idol." So I give you hope that God can perform a miracle. And when he does, it'll be great. But it may not look like what you want it to look like. And then when we're praying for somebody, especially like their salvation and such, we have to always take into account they have free will, and God will not force his will on them in that. I think it was C.S. Lewis or somebody like that said, at the end of life, you're either going to hear, "Welcome, thy good and faithful servant," or "Depart from me, I never knew you." It's God saying, okay, you said in your life on earth, "Your will be done, Lord." Or at the end of your life, God says to you, "Okay, your will be done." And he separates you from him forever. And that's a scary thing. Nothing on earth, no pleasure, no job, no whatever, no land, house, money, status is worth at the end of your life being told you're on your own. But joyfully, when he does answer our prayers, it'll be more glorious than we could ever imagine. Just realize he may answer your prayer in a way you did not see coming.